The Honest Truth, Chapter 7.5. A Dark Storm Coming. Wind whips rain against windows. Thunder getting close. Jessie held the phone in her hand and watched lightning flashes light up the distant hills. Through the open window, she could smell the rain. The world outside looked cold and dark. Her friend was out there in it, somewhere, alone except for a little mutt, with the clock ticking down. Her fingers traced the numbers on the phone, touched them without pressing them. It would be so easy just to spill her secret. She could call the hotline, tell them what she knew without saying her name. His parents would never know she'd known and hadn't told them. Mark would never know she'd betrayed him. And then all the great squeezing, twisting that was inside her would be over. And then Mark would be home. She was the only one who could do it. Her finger pressed on the first number. The phone's screen lit up, ready for the next number. She swallowed with a dry gulp and pressed. Then the third number. There was a lightning flash, and at almost the same time, a crash of thunder. Jessie jumped and cried out. A breeze swept in through the window. It carried the scent of the storm. The burnt air smelling of lightning wafted into the room and brought with it a memory. From years ago, 3rd grade, the hospital. Things were just getting bad. His hair was gone. He was weak and sick and tired. She visited him whenever she could. He hated missing school. He hated missing Bo. He hated being alone. They'd played cards on his bed with his mom and dad, and they all acted cheerful, even Mark. And then his parents had left the room to grab them all some food from the cafeteria, leaving Mark and Jessie alone. When the door clicked shut, Mark grabbed her hand so fast and hard she jerked and tried to pull it away, but his grip was hard and hot. She looked up into his eyes and was surprised to see tears there, brimming up and then spilling down his face. She stopped, pulling away. I don't like to cry in front of them, he said, his voice shaking. I know how sad it makes them. I don't like to tell them how bad I feel or how scared I am. I don't want to do that to them. Do you understand? Jessie nodded, though she wasn't sure she did understand. It's like a secret, he went on, still crying. I can't hold it all by myself, Jess. It's too much. Can I cry with you? Will you hold my secret? Jessie squeezed his hand. She looked into his green eyes and nodded again. Yeah, she answered. I'll hold your secret. Always? Always, I promise. And he cried into her shoulder, and he told her how bad he felt, how scared he was. And by the time his parents got back, they were giggling and playing cards again. She'd held his secret, and every time she visited, she held it again, so his parents wouldn't have to, so he wouldn't have to hold it alone. Then, the summer her parents had gotten divorced, she cried every day. Her dad left and moved back to Mexico. Her mom did nothing but mope around and watch TV and drink a bottle of wine each night. Jessie was alone. Except for Mark. He called her. He came over. He left notes and candies in their secret spot. Jess had spent the night at his house, and she'd cried, and it wasn't even embarrassing. He'd cried in front of her before, after all. It's not fair, she sobbed. You're supposed to be able to count on your mom and your dad. You're supposed to be able to count on them. Mark had put a hand on her shoulder. Count on me, Jess, he said, and I'll count on you. We're the ones we can always count on, right? Jess looked out at the storm, out at the new darkness. Even with his life on the line and the whole world looking for him, he'd stopped to leave a note for her, so she'd know, and to say goodbye, because he knew she would count on him to do that. She looked at the note, crumpled on the table. She'd read it so many times that she didn't have to read it again to know what it said. To my truest friend, I am so sorry, and goodbye. Hold my secret now. She blinked back her tears. Mark was counting on her now. She put the phone down.